So, here's the scenario. It's March, late March 2020. You're quarantined or self-isolated, and you're thinking about what you want to do with your life, because all that you have are the confinements of your home. So, what I turn to are video games, and my favorite video game in particular is The Legend of Zelda. You have the cooking minigames that I thoroughly enjoy, and one of the recipes looked really good, and I kind of wanted to try that in real life. Now, you're in quarantine or self-isolation. You're not going out that much, so all you have are the ingredients that you can work with right now, which are not a lot. Do not despair, because I'm here to help you. Welcome to Quarantine Cooking with BOTW. Okay, first thing you want to do is wash your hands thoroughly for 20 seconds.
Alright, what are we gonna need? Well, first off, we're gonna need rice, white rice. I chose pandan rice, but preferably you would want Japanese or sushi rice. I chose this one because it was the only one I could find, and it was the only one that the store still had. Maggi. This is completely optional. Now, you may not have this in your house or in the stores where you live, but you can substitute Maggi with very concentrated broth. Vegetable broth would be best, or if you don't want to, you don't have to use it at all. I mainly add it for some extra flavor. Now for the spices. Since I don't have access to Hyrule herbs, these will have to do. The spices I will be using are parsley, about a tablespoon of it, ground pepper, that I like to grind myself, but completely optional, salt, I don't know if this salt is kosher, please don't hurt me Daddy Babish, I'll pay closer attention next time when I buy my salt, I promise. Next, we're gonna need some thyme, about a teaspoon or two. And last, but certainly not least, celery, dried or finely chopped leaves. We're gonna need about 1 big teaspoon of this bad boy. Oh, also, I seem to have misplaced the lid of this container, with which I mean I certainly did not drop this container and the lid exploded off to God knows where. It absolutely not. Now the one last thing we'll need is our meat. I chose thinly sliced smoked Coburger ham, but it can be about anything you want it to be, as long as it's thin and tasty. Now, I chose to measure about 66 grams of rice for this recipe, that becomes about 2 rice balls. I did this for dietary reasons, but if you want more, I'd say about 35 grams of dry rice for 1 ball. Go ahead and boil some water on medium to high heat. I had about 1.5 liters of water in my pot. Once the water is boiling, add a pinch of salt to the water so that the rice won't feel lonely when it's drowning. Naturally, scald yourself on the boiling pan because you're a darn fool, and then proceed to protect yourself with heat-resistant mittens. My white pandan rice has to cook for about 10 minutes, so I chose to boil it for about 11 minutes. In short, the advised cooking time plus 1 minute. Does it matter? I don't know. I've never done this before, and I must admit that I was making this up a bit as I went. So, do whatever you want with your rice, you filthy animal, as long as you boil it nice and good. Now, while the rice is boiling, you can use this downtime to give some valuable attention to your pet. Make sure they really know how much you love them. This part is essential. If you don't do this, the entire dish will be ruined. I'm serious. Pet them. If you don't have a pet, tell yourself in the mirror how much you love yourself. Actually, go do that anyway. It's very important to love thyself. Now that some time has passed, the rice is done, and it's time to strain it. I chose to not wash my rice afterwards like a fool, so don't do that. Wash your rice after straining it, especially if it's sushi rice. The rice should still be warm, but not too hot to handle, and therefore it is ready to be prepped with the herbs. Throw the rice back where it came from.
So help me!
Okay, so I added a bit of salt here, but please do not do that. It will make the dish too salty because the ham is very salty in and of its own. No salt. Then, about a teaspoon of pepper, again, this for 2 balls. Add the teaspoon of celery, the teaspoon of thyme, and a good tablespoon of parsley. Next, the Maggi or concentrated broth. I use about 3 drops of this, but feel free to add more or less to your own taste. Again, this part is optional. Once the ingredients are in the right place, it's time to mix it all together in one mass of aromatic rice. The next part is very important, and I purposefully messed this up for educational purposes. Before you knead your rice balls into their shape, be sure to make your hands wet. This will make it so that the rice will not stick to your fingers, as you can see right here. See? Much better. Squeeze the ball nice and good, so that you can practically hear the fluid escaping. Keep kneading until it takes its desired shape so that you can go on to the next step. Now, with my first rice ball, I preheated a pan with a very small amount of oil. I'm talking like 2 or 3 drops. Lightly bake my ham for about 10 seconds on low to medium heat, or until it starts to wrinkle. Then I wrapped the ball in the ham as well as I could, but quickly discovered that this was not the most efficient way of making the dish. It became quite a mess. I tried baking the rice ball on the bottom a little longer so that it would keep shape, but it failed miserably. The taste was good, but yeah, well, the presentation was kinda... well, it kinda fell apart. The next ball was much better in my opinion. I kneaded it in its shape and then wrapped the ham around it while it was not yet baked in any way. Then I put it on the pan, turning regularly for about 30 seconds or until the ham changed color. Once it was evenly baked, the dish was finished. I invited my partner to try these with me, and after having tasted this, we can say that it was really good, especially for the first 2 tries. Pretty simple. I really advise you to try and make this dish at home if you can. The whole thing took roughly about 20 to 30 minutes to make, which is a little bit longer than the 3 seconds in which Link does it, but what are you gonna do? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed and stay healthy.